This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what you need to know today. Turkey's leader has called on Armenia to sign a durable normalization agreement with Azerbaijan while the opportunity to do so still exists, and warned countries outside the region not to interfere in ongoing negotiation efforts. Speaking alongside his Azerbaijani counterpart yesterday in Ankara, Recep Tayyip Erdogan urged Armenia to consider a long-term strategic perspective, saying Azerbaijan's capture of Nagorno-Karabakh last year has opened a window of historic opportunity for long-term peace in our region. Continuing, Erdogan called on third parties to contribute constructively to this process rather than to poison it in what appeared to be a thinly veiled swipe at Western-led mediation efforts. For his part, Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev, who repeatedly called Erdogan his dear brother, said Ankara's support for Baku during the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh war took relations to a new height, with the two countries' armies having become a united fist. Turkey and Azerbaijan have specific plans for joint military production, he added, without elaborating. Aliyev's trip to Turkey yesterday marked his first state visit since his re-election to a fifth term in office earlier this month in a vote widely seen as neither free nor fair. A close ally to Ruben Vardanyan has insisted that the billionaire businessman and philanthropist who is currently in detention in Azerbaijan has nothing to do with the sale of one of Armenia's biggest banks announced earlier this week. Ruben Vardanyan has not been involved in managing Ameriabank for a long time, Mesrop Arakelyan said today, adding, "No shareholder has the right to make decisions on such issues single-handedly." The Bank of Georgia Group, a holding company incorporated in the United Kingdom, said yesterday it had reached a $303.6 million deal pending regulatory approval to buy Ameriabank, Armenia's second-largest lender. Through a trust fund, Vardanyan owns 48.8% of Ameriabank, making him the bank's single-largest shareholder. Vardanyan, who briefly served as Nagorno-Karabakh state minister, has been held in Azerbaijan since last September on a string of criminal charges. If convicted, he faces more than a decade in prison. The Bank of Georgia Group's purchase of Ameriabank comes just a week after the United Kingdom-based financial giant HSBC said it will sell off its local subsidiary to Bank, Armenia's biggest bank. That deal, which also requires regulatory approval, will leave the country with no Western commercial banks. You can also check out CivilNet's latest podcast with Astina Pasoyan from Armenia's Energy Saving Foundation, who sat down with us this week to talk about the prospects for ramping up renewable energy production in Armenia and the importance of energy security for the country. You can find our full conversation with Astina Pasoyan up now on our website and YouTube channel. You can also find all of CivilNet's latest English coverage on our website, including a deep dive into the contentious issue of a public transport fare hike in Yerevan, now on hold following widespread public outcry, the story of what one diaspora Armenian, Maxim Sakyan, is doing to document underreported stories from Armenia in the region, and a look at how the international community is working to address Azerbaijan's human rights record in the run-up to this year's Global Climate Summit in Baku. You can find all of those stories up now on civilnet.am. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 36. Today marks the 36th anniversary of the start of the Karabakh movement, a series of massive demonstrations across Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh advocating for the transfer of the region from Azerbaijan to Armenia. It was one of the largest protest movements in Soviet history. And, as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.